You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It's a Finish Strong Friday, presented, of course, as always, by DraftKings. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. You can see the helmets behind me. Those are the teams I played for, the game balls, the whole deal. Those of you watching us on the DK Network or youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, or maybe just some of the social media clips that we post. Love that. At Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. In fact, we like to have winners every week. Just anybody that does a little something that helps the show. Maybe you take advantage of one of our sponsors, like Tommy Alamosa, who sent me a picture. I guess it's his office with like Labatt Blue Light after Labatt Blue Light case all over his office. Absolutely amazing, Tommy. In fact, you should be well stocked to drink some Labatt Blue Lights with your friends, maybe I guess your coworkers or your colleagues. I don't know. Live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly beer. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. And then the YouTube shout out goes to Lucas Witchek. That's just somebody that subscribes to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, and makes a comment on a video. I will do a cameo style video like that people pay for. I'll do it just for you. You just got to let me know, Lucas, who you want me to give a shout out. And then finally, the spread the word winner via social media. That's Larry Myers. He commented on one of the at Ross Tucker posts on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling that thing now. And so, Larry, you're the winner. If you're one of the winners, Tommy or Larry or Lucas, you got to email me, ross@rosstucker.com, and let me know, Lucas, who you want the shout out for, Larry and Tommy, whether you want to sign press pass or football card or picture or whatever. Anyway, shout out to Brian Vickers. He's our newest patron, patreon.com/RT Media. That's where you can get all the even money bets in black and white, the beautiful spreadsheet that our guy Grades puts together. Got to talk about last night's game before we get into all of my picks for the rest of the action, week 3 in the NFL. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, before we get each of these games, what were your thoughts on the 49ers? They moved to 3-0 with a 30-12 beatdown of the New York Giants.
Well, before I forget, first of all, awful news about Trayvon Diggs and the torn ACL in practice on Thursday being done for the year. That's just horrendous. Nobody wants to see that. Extremely, extremely unfortunate. It just stinks, man. You know, one-on-ones in practice on grass, it stinks. It also is not cool that Bryce Young's not going to be able to start for Carolina on Sunday. It looks like it'll be Andy Dalton. As for the game on Thursday night, you know, the Giants were at least hanging for a while. I mean, it was 20-12, at the end of the third quarter, and then the Niners just totally pulled away at that point. It was interesting because Purdy kind of got off to a slow start and then played really, really well after that. I mean, at this point, Jack, I'm just ready to say he's just good. I mean, he's just a good quarterback. The touchdown throw late, the final touchdown to Deebo Samuel was perfect, right where it needed to be. And honestly, Deebo might have been one of the biggest stories of the game. I mean, the run after the catch, breaking tackles. He got hurt. I think he got the wind knocked out of him, came back, scored that touchdown. He was probably the best and most impressive player on the field. But, man, after a slow start, Purdy was really good. I guess the other thing that kind of jumped out to me about the game is just some of the unfortunate penalties, right? Or calls. I mean, Sean Hockley was loving the microphone, as is, I guess, the case with him at times. But I didn't love the roughing the passer on Leonard Williams. they're just so strict about not having any weight on the quarterback. They don't want you to have any weight when you land on him. But what was really bizarre to me was the end of the first half, Trent Williams just punches A'Shawn Robinson and doesn't get ejected from the game. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. You're not allowed to punch a guy like that. You should be ejected. At any rate, that's the officiating part of it. Whatever. Ultimately, it was a really solid win, as usual, for the Niners. Probably what a lot of us expected would happen. You know, the Giants hung for a while before ultimately not being able to make it a full fourth quarter game. Beyond excited to call Ole Miss at Alabama tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Just going to be so much fun, incredible life experience. You can still go to that game or other games. That's what's so great about the Game Time app. It has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. So maybe it's still concerts, or maybe when basketball, maybe you still want to go to baseball games, or playoff baseball games are coming. All I know is Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find a ticket in the same section and row for less, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. So you know you're getting the best tickets. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ROSS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, so again, create an account and redeem code ROSS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, we'll start. The Indianapolis Colts. They return to Baltimore, this time to face the Ravens.
You know what's funny? I've done one of these games before, Jack, and for every team that comes into Baltimore, okay, on the scoreboard, it'll say Ravens, Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Ravens, Eagles, right? For this game, Ravens, IND. They will not call them the Colts. They will not put the Colts on the scoreboard because, you know, for a lot of people, that's still a very, very sore subject because they grew up diehard Baltimore Colts fans. I mean, you think about how, you know, they used to have Johnny Unitas and Lenny Moore and Raymond Berry, and they were absolutely fantastic. John Mackey, I mean, they had fantastic teams. So that ripped the hearts out of a lot of Baltimore people when they left in the middle of the night. I think it was like 82 or something. And they didn't get a team back for like 16 years. I mean, that's a long time, which I think is part of the reason why, you know, the Ravens fans are so diehard and awesome. We don't know, you know, what the status is for Anthony Richardson. I don't know that it really matters. I like the Ravens to win the game, whether it's Richardson or Minshew. I thought it was highly encouraging how Lamar Jackson played last week. He looked good. He looked ready to go. So I'll take the Ravens to win the game, probably 27-17, something like that, 27-17 maybe. And in fact, the Ravens are a pretty good choice to potentially lock them up this week. I like the Ravens to win that game quite a bit.
Your survivor / knockout / whatever you call it, pick of the week.
Next is the Tennessee Titans. They're at the Cleveland Browns.
Boy, this is a big game. You know, I know it's early, Jack, but both these teams, you know, think they're going to make the playoffs or have playoff aspirations. AFC's pretty deep. You got to win the game. I mean, if you're the Browns, you got to win this game. If you're the Titans, you got to win this game. I think I like the Titans. You know, I just don't have a lot of faith right now in Deshaun Watson. You know, I think Jerome Ford will be okay, but he's not Nick Chubb. You know, we heard yesterday what Greg Cosell had to say about Deshaun Watson. I kind of feel like the Titans, you know, Tannehill played pretty well last game. I think I'm gonna call for the upset here. Now, I will say this. The Browns' defense is playing really well. And if it weren't for the 2 defensive touchdowns by the Steelers, the Browns would have won that game. So right now, as I'm talking to you guys, I'm kind of changing my mind. But they say you should stick with your first impression. So I'm going to stick with the Titans. But now that I remembered the 2 defensive touchdowns, I don't feel great about it. This is what happens in my brain. 20-17, Titans, let the doggies out, Jack.
Ross's Underdog of the Week.
The Atlanta Falcons are at the Detroit Lions.
Another huge game. Huge game, dude. I mean, the Lions can't be 1-2 with back-to-back home losses. And the Falcons, can you imagine if they got up to 3-0? I don't think that's going to happen. Now, the Lions are really beat up. Gardner Johnson and Houston and Decker and Vitae and Montgomery. I mean, they're really beat up for early in the year, which is not good. They can't lose this game. You can't lose back-to-back home games to Seattle and Atlanta if you're Detroit. They will find a way. I don't know if it'll be pretty, but they'll find a way. This feels like 24-23, the Lions, because I think the Falcons playing a bunch of lower scoring games because of the way they run the ball. 24-23, Lions.
New Orleans Saints are at the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Oh, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the Saints come marching in. Do you know that song, Jack?
Yes.
What's it even from?
I don't know, but I went to Catholic school growing up, so I just know that song from before New Orleans.
That's a Catholic school thing?
No, I don't think it is, but like I just heard it. Like we had All Saints Day, so like that song would play.
Interesting. All right. I don't really know the genesis of it. I don't know anything about it. I know the Saints are playing the Packers, and the Packers are still a little bit beat up coming into this game. Man, this is an awesome weekend for very, very intriguing games, I feel like. Saints defense is playing awfully well. I normally lean towards home teams. And also, man, the Saints are on a short week. I got to go Packers. I'm torn on this one, but I got to go Packers. Short week, on the road, at Green Bay. Saints already undefeated. Now they lose Jamal Williams. Give me the Packers. 20-17. The Green Bay Packers get it done at home.
Next, we've got an AFC South battle. The Houston Texans are at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't envision picking the Texans to win a game anytime soon. I certainly don't envision picking them on the Even Money podcast again anytime soon. I mean, the Texans are 0-2, and I feel like C.J. Stroud is the least of their issues. That's concerning, right? Like, really concerning in my mind that's where they're at right now. But they are. The Jags blew a game against the Chiefs that they probably could have won. They'll win this one. I think Jacksonville wins. Although I think over time, the Jags, like the Texans, they struggle with the Texans a little bit for whatever reason. I think they'll get this one done. Jacksonville, the Texans' defense has been bad. So 27-16, Jacksonville. You could probably even lock those bad boys up.
Your survivor / knockout / whatever you call it, pick of the week.
The Denver Broncos are at the Miami Dolphins.
Well, I don't know how you pick the Dolphins to win. I mean, the Broncos to win this game. I mean, how do you do that? Based on what we've seen, the first couple weeks, Dolphins look really good. Their fans are going to be excited. It's their first home game, and they're playing against the Broncos team that just lost 2 games at home. And we heard what Greg had to say about Russell Wilson yesterday, the great Greg Cosell. That wasn't real promising. So, yeah, man, I would say give me the Dolphins, and it might not be close. The Broncos' defense hasn't been great either. I'm going to say 31-20. The Dolphins win by double digits.
We've got the Los Angeles Chargers. They're at the Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. What did Steve say about this on the Even Money betting podcast? This is like a Georgia wrestling match where the loser goes home.
We had that back-to-back weeks of loser goes home wrestling reference by him and Joe.
I don't understand. Is that a big wrestling thing? Loser goes home?
It was like an old storyline, like two guys fighting for the title. They hate each other. It's like, if you lose, like, you're out of Monday Night Raw. And then they would, like, go away for 3 months to, like, rehab an injury and then come back.
Oh, okay. Are you like a wrestling guy? Do you follow it?
Not anymore. I loved it when I was, like, 10, 11. I don't really follow it at all anymore.
Got it. I think I'll go with the Vikings because they're playing at home. But this is like a toss-up game. Could go either way. And it's a real bad look for whichever team loses for sure. I'm going to say it's an awesome game. 28-27 Vikings. Might even be a little bit higher scoring than that. Although I think Flores calls a good game on defense. But let's do 31-28 Vikings.
Next, we've got the New England Patriots. They're at the New York Jets.
Yeah, they are. I can't believe the Jets are favored in this one. I like the Patriots to win the game. I don't have a lot of faith in Zach Wilson. And it's really, really hard to sit here and pick Zach Wilson to win a football game. It is. Now, maybe they will, and he played decently against the Bills, but they're not scoring points. So, you see, the way it works is there's a scoreboard, and whichever team has more points at the end, that's who wins. And the Jets aren't really scoring points. Patriots defense is pretty darn good themselves. I think this is a low-scoring game that I got more faith in Belichick and Mac Jones late than I do in Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson. So, give me the Patriots 17-16, and they're underdogs, Jack, so you can let the doggies out.
Next, we've got the Tucker Bowl. The Buffalo Bills are at the Washington Commanders.
By the way, I was totally wrong. The Patriots are favored by 2.5. For some reason, I thought it was the other way. So you can go ahead and forget pretty much everything I just said about upset, underdog, all that stuff. My score remains the same. The Tucker Bowl, I like it, Jack. Very much. I'm going to go with the Bills. I mean, the Commanders have been a really good story. I think the Commanders are going to be in this thing until the end, in terms of the wild card race. But I can't be sitting here and taking the Commanders to beat the Buffalo Bills. I'm not ready for that. I don't think any of us are ready for that. The Bills look like they got their mojo back against the Raiders. Boy, this would be a major storyline, though, if the Commanders somehow won that game. That would be incredible. I'm going to go Buffalo 27, Washington 23. Decent amount of points. I feel like the Commanders' defense hasn't been that great. So 27-23, Bills.
The Carolina Panthers are at Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle. I mean, Bryce Young now missing some practices because he's a little bit beat up, which was one of the concerns with his physique coming into the NFL. The Seahawks look like they got back on track against the Lions last week. I think the Seahawks are pretty good. I don't envision Carolina going on the road and winning this game. That would surprise me. Seattle, 24, because Carolina's got a pretty good defense. Carolina, 16.
Dallas Cowboys are at the Arizona Cardinals.
How about them Cowboys? They might be the best team in football. Cardinals might be the worst team in football. I will not be picking the worst team in football potentially to beat the best team in football. I will be talking about the Cowboys winning this game. Not a ton of points, but like 27-10, 24-10. They're probably your best survivor, suicide, whatever you call it, pick of the week.
A game that really wasn't that interesting to begin with, that now's got a whole lot more interesting. The Chicago Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, Joe Dolan talked about this on the Fantasy Feast podcast. I agree with him. I do think we're going to see Justin Fields run the ball quite a bit and freelance and just go crazy. But the Chiefs' defense is pretty darn good, man. And now they got Chris Jones back. And also, they're the Chiefs. And the game's in Arrowhead. The Bears are reeling right now. Not a formula for success. Kansas City, 23. No, Kansas City needs to break out a little bit offensively. Kansas City 27, Chicago 17.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are at the Las Vegas Raiders.
They are, but listen, we got 3 more games to go, Jack. We're getting into the fourth quarter of this show. In football, the fourth quarter is where the magic happens. It's where games are won, where champions are made. And in business, it's where sales teams become legends. That's why HubSpot built Sales Hub to give sales reps the deal-making tools they need to win their Q4. Sales Hub's prospecting workspace organizes your schedule, goals, and to-do list in one place to save your team precious fourth quarter time. And smart sequences help sales reps close deals faster than ever. So get ready to dominate Q4 with Sales Hub. Learn more at HubSpot.com/sales. As for the game, Jack, man, I could go either way on this one. I really could. Steelers, Raiders. Raiders were not real impressive in Buffalo. Steelers found a way to get it done, but it feels like they are, like a lot of these teams, pretty beat up. This is like a toss-up game to me. I'll take the Raiders because they're playing at home. I don't feel great about it. I don't envision a lot of points in this game. I think Jimmy G and the crew get it done. Don't love what I'm seeing from Pittsburgh right now. Let's go 19-16, the Raiders.
The Philadelphia Eagles are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
We got the double Monday night thing again. Man, I'm not a fan. Jack, you?
No. If Scott Hansen was there to guide me through it, I would enjoy it, but I just don't like having to constantly switch back between channels.
Totally agree. And maybe ESPN and ABC aren't allowed to do that, but that would be, although they need to show each game in its entirety. But maybe they should do more like the picture-in-picture thing in the upper corner. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I feel like it's not hard for them to just like on ESPN or ESPN2 or something, just like have like it's basically like a Manning cast, just a simulcast of just a red zone version that's their own, like whatever they could call it.
Yeah, and I guess I don't understand, like, why not do 7 and 10? Or even if you're going to have them overlap, not have that much overlap. Have a 7 o'clock game and like a 9 o'clock game, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and Colorado State showed that people on the East Coast will stay up for a 10 o'clock game if it's good enough.
yeah, you're right. I'll take the Eagles to win the game. Bucks have been impressive. Congrats to them. Kudos to them. I just think the Eagles are more talented. This would really put the league on notice if they came out and played really well like they possibly could, the Bucks, and win the game. Eagles, have some serious injuries and some issues they need to deal with. I think ultimately the Eagles up front, both sides of the ball, are the difference in the game. And I think they win it 24-20 over the Bucks.
And lastly, we've got a Super Bowl rematch, the Los Angeles Rams at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals have to win this game, obviously. I think they will win this game. This would be a horrible look if they got to 0-3 and lost to the Rams at home. I don't think that happens. Let's go Bengals. I think they'll score I think they're going to have a breakout game. I'm going to say 34 points for the Bengals offense. 34-20. I think the Bengals come out and finally get on track. Although, I don't know, man. With Burrow and his status up in the air and the calf thing, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. As of recording this, I'm going to think that Burrow plays and plays well. 34-20, the Bengals win the game, but we shall see. Other than that, have an awesome weekend, everybody. Love those of you that can watch the game on CBS tomorrow. If you can, tweet at me or tweet about it. I love when you guys do that, or you tweet the picture of me on camera at the start. That's always cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy what you have to hear. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout outs. MyFrontPageStory.com is amazing. BackOfficeScheduler.com, Go-Bengals.com, SteakhouseSports.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.